leave any of this in because the first 30 seconds was demonetized. We're saying the F word like 5 times.
If not more.
So, okay, cool. We got it all the giggles out. Let's get this started. All right. Podcast going. Let's go. Thanks, guys, for joining us on another episode of Always Making. We are joined again in the studio by an awesome, talented artist, Falken Craft. Sorry. We just went over this
one
before
Falken
the camera's
Craft.
rolling. Thank you for joining us. We're going to do a little housekeeping before we get into your whole story and conversation and everything that way. But we are going to be at the holiday market in Ogden for DIY Fest. Mm-hmm. If you guys want to come out to that and support local artists, that is on I forgot the dates.
December 6th and 7th.
Yes, December 6th and 7th. You are correct on that one. So that's coming up pretty quick right after this episode airs. And that is the things we got going on so far for the holiday season. But other than that, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys know any local artists that you think should be on the show, like, send them our way. Comment down below. But let's get into this conversation about art and everything you do in this awesome art community that you are building.
Which is a lot.
I don't know how to stop.
Please don't stop.
Yeah, please don't stop, because what you're doing is exactly what we love about everything about the community. Like, you are building a very, very supportive community for the LGBTQ, community, as well as the art community as well. But I'm still in your thunder here. Like, please, who are you?
I'm Summer. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a queer non-binary artist from Utah. I've lived here my entire life in the same Davis County for the past 32 years, and grew up super Mormon, but came out, in my early 20s as just like queer and stuff like that, and then came out 2 years ago as non-binary. But yeah, I've been doing my business for about 4 years now, just coming to the end of year 4. And I've been doing it full time for the past 2 years, which is really cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's hard. A lot of hard work.
Small business is hard.
Yeah.
That's one thing a lot of people don't tell everybody. It is constant work. It is hard, but it is very rewarding.
Oh yeah, very rewarding. I can't imagine going back to like a 9-to-5 right now at all. I'm just like, I think about it a little bit like, be nice to have stability in finances, but that sounds awful. I'm not going to do that.
That's not fun.
I'm going to keep making more stuff.
So speaking about making, there is a plethora of things you make. Word of the day, I guess there.
That's a good word for
You
it.
sounded so proud of yourself when you said
I know I did, right? And so heavy resin work seems like a lot of the stuff you do, but there's acrylic painting, there's buttons, there's illustrations, there's stickers. There's D&D fantasy like pieces, like there's
jewelry,
all jewelry, like everything,
Sewing stuff, cosplay.
There's bucket hats I've seen. What else am I missing?
That's pretty much it for now. The surface stuff. I just got diagnosed with ADHD, which makes a lot of sense.
No.
But when I first started my business, I really had no idea what I was going to make. The first time I signed up for markets, I didn't have any idea of what to make. I just signed up for a 12-week market. I've just been like, let's just do something.
Wait,
I don't know.
Hold on.
What?
You signed up to do 12 weeks of market and had no plan.
I had no inventory, nothing. It was just like, I had gone through a creative drought and like kind of like, some depression and stuff from this creative drought, from a toxic corporate job I had. And so I just wasn't making anything. And there was a long time, like, my precious partner, Lewis, knows how often I would just like cry to him at night. Just being like, I just want to make anything. I just want to make literally anything. I don't care what it is, just anything, but I can't right now. So after several years of that, and I left that toxic job, I started to like make some art and stuff again. And I thought it would be a good push for me to get into making art more if I had a reason to be doing it. So it was the Ogden Bazaar that they started up during COVID as a way to have markets when everything was shut down. And they offered for a discount if you did 12 weeks. And I was just like, I think this is just the push I need. And I'm just going to sign up and start making stuff.
I love it.
So most people that we've had on, they are over like thinking what they're making and have a bunch of stuff before they even try to start a market
Or a business.
or a
sell
business or
anything.
anything like that. So I want to know, how did the first market go for you?
It went really good. I have always been doing little crafts and stuff like that all the time. I already had like a button machine. I had already been doing like some in my spare time, like trying to do some DIY screen printing and block printing, things like that. So like I had stuff I could do and ideas. And so I just started like sitting down, making stuff and being like, okay, like, so I can make buttons, I can do this, and just kind of seeing what would sell. Kind of just trial and error the first couple weeks of it until I started like honing in on what I wanted to do. But I just pretty much went through everything I had. I used to do zines a lot. And I did a couple zine fests. So I've done market style things before, but just with paper goods and my books way back in the day. I'm also a published author.
I was just going to say, the thing you're not saying is you're also a published author when you come to books and everything.
Yes. I published books about 10 years ago. I have 4 of them that I self-published. I'm in the works of trying to revamp them and republish them under my new name.
Awesome.
So one day you'll see books from me again. But I don't know. I was just so desperate to make something and make anything that I just signed up to it so I could just start doing stuff. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And I just found the things that I really liked doing. I tried resin just for fun with my mom, as like, oh, we just bought one of those cheap kits like from China that's like you can't read any of the instructions on it. And we just tried making a couple things and I was like, this is kind of fun. Like, I like doing this. And now that's the main thing I have. Is...
You got the resin in your blood and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm hooked. I gotta do it. Yeah.
Now I have a whole wall of earrings that are like hundreds and hundreds of pairs of earrings that travel with me to every market.
So first market then, because you had nothing, like going into it, how much did you actually have at that first market?
My table was stuffed. It was full. Because I have past history of working in retail and stuff too. So it was easy for me to merchandise things and just be like, okay, well, let's put these things out this way, kind of fan things out and stuff like that. But I did also share the space with my mom at first.
Okay. Oh,
because
so
she was kind of doing
crafty
the same
family.
thing. Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
this is not like a new thing to you in that sense. Okay.
No, she would always have us like, one of the things I love during the summers is, you know, like the Oriental trading.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
She would always have us go through and pick a bunch of like kits and stuff, and she would order for us to do during the summer while we're on vacation and camping and stuff.
That was my mom's babysitting plan too, was
Yeah.
go to Michael's or local craft store, pick a kit or 2, and this is like what you're doing all summer.
Yeah.
So-
I loved doing that.
Yes.
You brought back a core memory, like Oriental trading. So back in California, there was this store in Garden Grove, California. I forget the name of it, but it was a learning education store. But part of their, like, they had one side where it was like the Playmobil toys, Legos, all this stuff on the stuff, and like teacher education tools and things like that. And then the other side was all the Oriental trading, like mini toys and all the different, and they were all in carton boxes. And you just would like literally grab like, oh, I need 2 of these, and they're 10 cents a piece or they're 20. Oh, it was the
Sounds like a
coolest.
dream
It was the
come
coolest
true.
store. I was so bummed when that store went out.
It's like,
and
I don't
everything.
ever went to that store.
Yeah,
This is
it was
amazing.
one of those, like, when we would go as kids, like, oh man, like it was the funniest thing, and it would end up costing like my parents like $3-4 for us to get all these little chachi kind of toys and everything. But like that book, I remember the book, and then I remember being able to go into the store and seeing all the things that were in the book. I'm like, I don't have to buy 20 of those to like get the like get a shit. I can buy one. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, you hit a core memory when you said Oriental trading.
That sounds like an ADHD dream to like go to that store and just like get a little bit of everything.
So summer with mom, built the crafting, going forward with all that. COVID play a role in like making that step, because it was right at the end? Like, were you at home working, or was it like, I'm itching to do this thing and find an outlet, and that was that final push?
So I kind of was really lucky. So I was working retail in the mall at the end of 2019. And my last day was the last day, or the day after
Like
Christmas.
Okay.
I was like, I told my DM, like, I will stay through Christmas. And then I'm done. I took a $5 pay cut to get out of there because I was a store manager and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I took a $5 pay cut to go be a receptionist at a daycare and work 9 to 5. So being in a daycare during COVID, I still had a job and everything, which I'm really grateful for. But it was also like an arts academy kind of thing. So they would be like, hey, do you want to like teach like a summer art class, just like for 5 days. We have all the stuff for you. You just got to teach kids. And I was like, this is really fun. I like doing this. And it made me start thinking about things, making things, trying things at home, being like, oh, this clay was fun. Like maybe I should go buy a clay kit myself and like play around with some stuff. So COVID didn't play too big of a part in like hindering me from starting it. The first markets I started doing was February of 2021. So it was like things were kind of starting to come back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're now 4 years into this. So just about the end of end of 4 years for you. You have done so much to build support for the community. What was that like next step for you in what you were doing? Why take that next step and not just be an artist at a market?
Yeah. So I've always really liked teaching. I've always loved being part of a community, things like that. As y'all know, the art community here is really awesome and really strong. There's so many cool people around here. But the queer community is also like that. The Salt Lake queer community and like the Ogden surrounding areas is just so tight knit and doing so many cool things. And it just was important for me to kind of like do my part in that with the tools that I have and the privilege that I have. I'm able to teach classes. I'm able to afford art supplies and things like that. And I have extra art supplies from hundreds of projects I've tried and like didn't do. So it's like, oh, I have all these canvases. These kids can use these canvases for free. Why not? Instead of just get rid of them. So I started a queer youth art night for queer kids to be able to come meet other friends, do some art together, have a place where they can be themselves, be open, have another adult there using their name and pronouns that they tell me, but also a place for adults and parents of queer youth to meet each other and make friends and connections and be like, oh, like I'm not the only parent going through this kind of thing, because it's hard raising a kid in general. We don't have kids and there's reasons for that, because that's hard.
Yeah.
Like,
ours is turning a year tomorrow of the day of recording
awesome.
and everything. And so but yeah, it's been an interesting mix, and I mean, we don't know what the future holds for us in that sense, but like we're still learning every day kind of thing.
Yeah. Wait until she starts talking and having opinions.
Well, she already has opinions.
Yeah.
She can't vocalize them exactly.
But that is awesome, and it's one of the reasons we wanted you on the show, is to like highlight what you're doing, because not only the art, not only the community, you're also building shows to help support the local community as well. And so you have a art show art market. I don't how there's always, everyone has different ways of calling
different words for it. Yeah, we're calling it a market.
In a bookstore. That's one of the things you and a few other people put together, and that's
I'm not part of that crew. I just participate a lot in the Always Queer.
Oh, I saw it was presented by with you. Am I thinking of a different?
So that's the holiday coming up.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yes.
So I'm confusing some of your markets on your social and everything.
I know. I do so many.
So the holiday is your market.
Yes.
Kind of thing. Okay. So that is second year, correct? This is doing second year. That is on December 1st.
Yes, okay. December 1st from 11 to 5.
And that is a totally 100% queer market.
Yes, and we have 37 vendors. They are all queer individuals. There's some that are like really established artists who have been around for quite a while in the community, but then we also have some like newer people coming in as well. It's hard as a queer person. So even though I'm AFAB, which stands for assigned female at birth, I don't identify as a woman. And there's markets like, say, the Strength and Shades markets, where it's like they want, women businesses and people of color businesses. I'm neither of those things, even though people look at me and they're like, oh, you should apply for that. And I'm just like, I'm not a fucking woman. Like, we've had this conversation. So it's hard as queer people to find those places where, our art is welcome, and the queer experience, like, art is so different for queer people just because of the experiences they go through. There's a lot of shared trauma that we go through and experiences that shape the kind of art we make that other queer people are drawn to. So it's important for us to have a market where people can bring their authentic art and not worry about the weird things that people say at markets.
It can be very weird for, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody at markets. And giving a space that allows people to be comfortable in is huge, because everyone we have on the show, like, there's a little bit of anxiety going to your first market, doing your first thing, and like knowing that there's a community there to support what you're doing, and like the art that you're choosing to create and everything is super supportive. I mean, it's meaningful to the community to have those type of spaces. What was the like response and reaction you had from the first year? Because I'm gonna put words in your mouth and say it was probably positive because you're doing it for a second year, but I mean, let's hear it from you.
The first year went really, really good. So last year we had it at Church and State, which is a really cool building in downtown Salt Lake. And we had only about 20 vendors because we couldn't use the upstairs because it's not accessible. And we want to make sure it's accessible for literally anybody to be able to come. But we had an overwhelming amount of people show up, which was really awesome. I think we ended up not keeping track of how many people walked through the door because it was just so many coming, which was a really, really cool experience. And every vendor I talked to, they were like, this is the best market I've done all year. And I was just like, that's good. That's good to hear, you know? And so when we put out applications this year, we're doing it in a different location. We're doing it at Public Space, which I think Public Coffee Roasters is like connected to it.
Okay.
It's just an event venue. I did a grid zine fest there, like pre-pandemic, one of their first ones, and I was like, this is a cool space. Let's just check out how much it is. And it was like, this is in our budget.
We can afford this.
Yep. This date is available there. Let's do it. So we're able to have more vendors there, which is awesome. And we have 37 spots available, but we had over 60 people apply. So it was
That's wonderful.
awesome, but it was also hard just being like, how do we choose? Like, we can't just choose all of our friends. Like, as fun as that would be, like, that's not fair to everybody and things like that. So we had a jury process of, so I'm hosting it with my friend Q. They are Crocheted by Q, and they also work for Utah Art Alliance, so they do a lot of like festivals and things like that. They're very knowledgeable about how markets run, which is really cool because like I'm like, I know the vendor side of it really well. I know what I want out of a market as a vendor, but they're really good at logistics and planning and management and stuff like that. So when we were doing it again this year, it was just like a no-brainer of like, this is awesome, we've got to do this again. And so me, Q, and my partner Lewis, we kind of narrowed down what people we would have, which was hard to do. It's hard to narrow down.
I was gonna say, because we always get the people on the show who are attending the markets, who are being the vendors, being vendor and also behind the scenes creating the market.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've been rejected from shows. It happens, kind of thing. It's not end of the world. We have more shows to do, kind of thing. But like, how hard is it to like really narrow down? Because I know you said like you don't want to just choose your friends. You had a jury process, but like, what is some of the like the things that you look for maybe people out there who are like going to be submitting to your show or maybe other shows? What are some of the things you look for that to maybe help put them over that edge to like maybe get them into the next show that they apply for?
Yeah. So one of the things that we really looked for is having a variety of different people. So say if we had like 7 crochet artists apply, it's like, that's awesome. They're all super talented in their own way and they make unique things between all of them. But we can't have 7 of our 37 people just be crochet artists. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we try really hard to narrow it down of like, okay, we can have this many fiber artists, this many bath and body people, and really like narrow down how much of each thing do we have. Mm-hmm. I don't know how other markets do it, but the way Q and I are really trying to do it too is if we have a fiber artist specifically pull out, we go to the next fiber artist on our wait list to be like, okay, we still want to make this balance between everything. But it's not really about like the amount of experience they have or anything like that. A lot of people worry like, I don't have a booth photo, and it's like, that's okay. Like, it's your first market. Like, you don't have to have a booth photo. We just want to know you have enough product and like what that product is, kind of thing. And just seeing what people say about their art, making sure they have a wide price range, because we'd love people to bring like their great big like original art pieces. But if you're selling all your pieces for $300+, your art is valid and worth that much, but that's not going to sell at a one-day holiday market.
Yeah, that's a tough sell in those situations. Yeah,
especially to the queer community, which is already a marginalized community that doesn't have as much finances as, a lot of other people. So trying to find people, it's like, okay, like you have these big pieces, but this person also has stickers and prints and stuff like that. So it's someone who we can make sure they're having a good time at the market as well and making sales too. Because we don't want anyone to come in and be like, well, I brought all my big pieces and no one sold. And it's like, yeah, I don't, you got to apply for Craft Lake City for that kind of stuff. Like, we're just a little market.
It is one of those things, we've talked about it here on the show, where like having a variety of prices for your stuff that really can help you. Like we have success at a lot of different shows because we have a variety of styles, a variety of things that we make, and we can like, oh, hey, we do have a higher value price item and we do have a couple things that are a few dollars, and everyone can kind of find something that, like, if they like it in our booth and our setup and everything when we do our stuff. So it is hard sometimes for the newer or unexperienced like people to go like, hey, I'm going to just bring all these cool pieces, and they're cool pieces.
Oh, they're so cool.
But it like, I wish I could buy multiple $300 pieces and put them all. I don't have room, but it's like we can buy $25 prints and hang them on our wall and have an art gallery that way, kind of thing. And we feel like we're supporting a lot of artists, kind of thing.
Yes.
Like I can do so much more than just one piece, kind of thing.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like buying stickers and buttons to be able to be like, I can't buy even a pair of earrings. Like I can't afford a pair of earrings right now, which has been hard to price my earrings for what they're worth because I want to make them affordable to everybody. I want to make art affordable. But it's nice when you're like, well, I have this other thing for you, like here's a button or a sticker, and people still want to support you. Even if they can't buy the big things right now.
Yeah, and it's understandable, especially like with the economy and how it can go up and down and things like that. And sometimes people can go, hey, I have the extra to buy a t-shirt from you, or hey, I just don't have. I'm like, don't feel like it's obligation. Like even if like I don't want you to feel obligated to even buy a sticker. Like you're just coming in and being here, like making the audience bigger at a show goes a long way. Just coming and supporting in that sense as well.
I have a sign that I do, especially at like Pride markets. So I travel out of state for a lot of big markets as well. And I have a sign I put on my buttons that says, follow me for a free button. So then people can get their Pride flag that they find, because no one else has all the Pride flags, because corporations don't want to do that because there's so many Pride flags. But then I'm also getting a follower that will maybe even if it's in a year or two, will buy something off my website, or can just see what I'm doing, see other artists that, I share things about. So even just getting the follow from people, it's just like, that's good. If you can just follow me, awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back. Before we go into the future, let's go back and everything. I want to, what was the first thing you had at your first show? What was, you had nothing. So what was that decision to go, hey, this is the first thing I'm going to make and start like selling? Because like you said, you didn't know what you were going to sell.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't have any resin that first market. I don't think I have had any resin the second market either, because it was like a every Sunday kind of thing. But I had buttons, and a lot of my buttons were just like scrapbook paper that I found, stuff that I got from the Creative Reuse Center of just like, oh, this is just cool paper. I was just like handwriting, like pronouns and stuff too. I had some block printing, just like cards off of like, I would just buy cards from like Joann's and stuff when they're on sale and just like make little tiny block prints. Not a whole lot, just like with stamps, not even like the whole like with the roller and the good ink. It was just like, oh, it's just a stamp pad, let's just make some stuff. And did some DIY screen printing with like some patches and stuff like that, and then zines and my books. So it was just kind of like stuff I'd already kind of been experimenting with and making, that I was just like, let's just see what sells. And I think people mostly bought stuff that first week just to be like, oh, you're new, this is okay, I'll support you because this is your first time and stuff. And I don't know how much I made, probably like only like $200, but I was like, this is awesome. Yeah, I like this is worth it.
It got you hooked.
Yeah, it definitely did. And just being around markets and going places, I just get so like feel just this creative pull, no matter where I'm at. Like going to Craft Lake City this year, I didn't vend this year, but just even walking around, I was like, I just want to go home and make stuff.
Yeah, you bought one of our shirts.
I know. Yeah. I had to cut it into a crop, but
that's okay.
That's all I wear.
I love when people will take like what we make and then like make it their own kind of thing. And I think that's very cool. So I'm not offended by that. You
okay, good. I love that it was tie-dye too. So I was like, this is my vibe. I need it right now.
So now that you're 4 years on, do you have a medium that is your favorite to work with?
I really like doing resin stuff. So when I first started doing resin and like I was making like boxes and I got like some just like cheap Amazon like earring molds and like stuff from Michael's and Joann's and stuff like that. And I honestly don't really wear jewelry. I only wear earrings to things like, so obviously I wore earrings today. I wear earrings at markets. If I'm going out like to a specific thing where I'm like, I think I have some earrings that I have that will match the vibe, and there will be people there who ask me about it, so I'll take business cards. Literally as only a way to promote myself, but like as soon as I get back in the car, I'm like, take these off. Like, I don't want these on anymore. But I really, really like making earrings. Like I just like the big, bold funness of it. I am obsessed with glitter. When I first met my partner, he was just like, I don't really like glitter. And I was like, you need to know there's going to never be a less amount of glitter in my life.
Well, I forget. It was a long time ago. I don't remember. Maybe it was on some like inspirational poster or something, but and it sticks with me. Like glitter is the cancer of arts and craft because you just can't get rid of it ever. Like it is always around and it just grows and it's like so I understand. Once you're in, you're in. Like
Oh yeah, there's so much glitter. There's always glitter on our faces whenever we wake up. Even Lewis wakes up with glitter on his face just from being around me. This glitter I put on my face was on top of glitter from yesterday. But what I like about resin is like I tell people when they're like, oh, I can't do glitter. I'm like, yeah, but resin traps the glitter and it will never get loose from it. Yeah. So it's like you can enjoy glitter without it getting everywhere. And I just like the versatility of resin. Everyone does so many different things with it. There's people who do like preserve like wedding bouquets, and there's people who do like the weird experiments with like the food and stuff like that. Like, let's see what we can preserve, and all the delicate things, and like my mom does like the mugs, like the tumblers and things like that. So I just like the ability to do so many different things, and no one does resin the same way.
It is so crazy because resin has been around for so long, but all of a sudden, like the last maybe, let's say 10 years to be safe on that, like it really just took off on what people were doing. They expanded the like capabilities of what resin was being used for. Cause like when you think about it, it was like a Home Depot, like industrial material that wasn't being used
for floors and counters
and like boats.
Yeah. I remember doing like fiberglass, I was repairing shower, and like you get the resin mix and everything like to go over the fiberglass, but like that was like the experience I had with resin until we started playing with it. We're like, oh, this has changed so much, kind of thing.
It got so trendy, so fast, and I feel like the trend's kind of going down a little bit.
But yes, but also the creativity it still continues to change, and I think adapt. And I want to get into your process a little bit with the resin because you have a variety to like, I guess to say the least, because there is, I don't know how many different like earring
105 designs.
Is that okay? I was
when I last counted.
Because when you earlier said a wall of earrings, you were not exaggerating.
Yes, but that's just individual design. So that's like the difference between like I'm wearing my UFOs right now, so it's like the UFOs is one design, the cows are another design. I also have the hearts and like bars that like dangle in a huge variety of pride flags. I don't count those individually.
I was like, you said designs, but I know like colorways. You're adding on to that. I like,
yes.
So there's
which is also why resin is so cool. I tell people at markets, they're like, oh, you don't have my pride flag. I'm like, give me 2 days. I can make literally any pride flag you want in the resin, in like the hearts and the stars in a bar, like all these different styles for people, because it's like, you're not going to find your flag literally anywhere unless it's custom made. So I offer that customization for everybody. And
are your mold stuff you get off the counter, or are you making
make all my own molds?
Okay, I
all my own designs.
I kind of knew that, but I was like, okay, let's ask the question.
So I had to make a handy dandy like sign for my market so I could show people, because it's hard. Like for people who aren't makers to visualize what it is. So I draw everything on my iPad first. And then I send it to my computer, make a vector image of it, and put it in a software to use a laser cutter. And I have a friend who's really awesome and lets me use her laser cutter. So I buy just clear acrylic, or if I have like scrap acrylic, from Delvy's in Salt Lake is a really good local acrylic place. Yeah, they're
Hot tip,
awesome.
guys. Delvy's.
Yeah, Delvy's is
filing that away.
awesome. And they're just like on West Temple, so they're really close, easy to pick up. Like I just order the day before, and it's like, hey, come pick up the next day. And
do they have a storefront, or is it like an online order?
it's mostly online order.
Okay,
you can walk in and like they have like their colors on the wall, but it's like
just like
room
samples.
this big where it's like
I
there's
was
a
like,
counter.
Christy, we might have to do some shopping this weekend.
You still can, like, they can just like, it takes them like a couple minutes to like cut things and stuff like that. Because I've been there and be like, oh, I actually do need to get something for a custom order, because sometimes people will order things if it's like a one-off. I don't make a mold of it because then that's going to cost them so much money.
Yeah.
So I'll order like an acrylic color for them and things like that. But so I cut it out on a laser and do the engraving on there. And then I take all of those. I take all the masking off of all of the acrylic. I arrange it on. I DIY my molds so much. I put masking tape, put the acrylic pieces on there, and put retaining walls made out of cardboard. So it's just like super DIY to just make a box that will hold silicone.
I saw one of your social posts where you were using 3D printer to make some retaining walls. Did that not quite work out as? It's
just hard to keep it from leaking out.
Okay. So the cardboard works better and tape. Okay. All right.
Especially for how many I'm making. Because usually I'm making like 20 plus molds at a time. So, and our 3D printer is out of commission right now just because our basement flooded last year. We just haven't been able to get it back up.
Mine's not been able to be leveled for a while. Like ours is out of commission at the moment. I'm like, do I buy a new one or do I just take the time?
They're so finicky. They're easy to fix too.
They
but
are,
it's just
but it's time consuming.
Yeah.
And like you have to do this to run the test. I get it. I understand.
Yeah. I'm glad they're not too expensive anymore too. So
they've come down quite a bit.
Yeah. But so yeah, I'll make a retaining wall, like little box out of tape and cardboard. And then I'll order silicone and mix silicone. One of the things I had a problem with buying molds from people, and at the beginning I was buying molds off people like Etsy and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So from other small makers, so original designs from people, but it's just one set of earrings. Mm-hmm. And then when I'm making it with resin, it's just one set of earrings. Yep. So now when I make it, I can make it to where I'm making 3 pairs at a time instead of just one. So it's really maximized my amount of time that I'm spending. And the amount of volume I can push out to where I can keep my costs a little bit lower for people too. So after the mold sets after a day, I'm able to like pull it out and I can keep the mold like flat and then just re-put tape around it to rebuild it again, which is really nice for when I need new ones. I just trim off the excess silicone and then do the resin part. And then the painting part, and then the assembling part, and all of that. But yeah, I do it all from start to finish. They're all my own designs, my own molds, everything.
How many earrings do you think you make a week? Because
I do not know.
You have shows almost every week?
During the summertime, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then wintertime, you kind of a little bit of a break in between, like some of those. Mm-hmm. This winter shows do slow down a little bit. There's a little bit picky or choosy on where you go, and sometimes being in the outdoors in the winter time is not a great choice. Like,
although I'll take winter outdoor markets over like 105 degree weather for 3 days in a row.
On
like,
asphalt.
yeah. The winter pride events are really hard, especially because there's so many people around too. So it just feels even hotter outside and. Pride events are almost always in June and July. And so it's just like, this is just the peak of heat, which is great for someone who's heat susceptible, but I do it anyways because I love it. But yeah, so I'd rather do like winter markets or when it's cooler, but they just aren't happening with what I'm doing. Because like I like doing the farmer's market. I tried that my first year, but Pride markets is just where my clientele is at for everything I'm making. And they're just the funnest to be at. They're the safest for me to be at. So I can just like not worry about wearing my pronoun pin and stuff like that. Everyone's like, cool, you know? But yeah, I forgot what your question was.
That's okay.
That's right. Because I have a question about resin because I've dabbled a little and I love it. I do think it's fun. But I have the hardest time with the cleanup. I don't like the cleanup because resin can be messy. So how do you control the mess?
Practice. A lot of practice. So it's taken me a long time to get down like a system of what to do. Because the first year or two, like it was messy. It was everywhere all the time. I had molds just like I was using our dining room table because it was at our old house and I didn't really have a lot of creative space. So our dining room table was almost always half covered in just molds, just drying and stuff like that. And it's just things would spill and stuff like that. So I'd always have to have like a silicone mat under it. A lot of trial and error. I've got it down now to where it's like I have a good idea of like how much I need to be making at a time. I have like stacks. So like all the resin molds dry in like a tower instead of on a table. So now my resin pouring area is like this big instead of like a whole table. But it's just taken practice of just trial and error of like how much you need, how long, like how far the resin is going to go. I used to do like bigger cups, but then I would get to a point where it starts curing inside the cup. And it's like, this is getting too thick to pour into anything, especially when adding glitter and stuff already makes it thicker. So it's just been, now I only do like small cups at a time. And like, I'm going through more cups, but I'm able to control how much I'm wasting on the resin side of it. So
it is crazy. Like once you discover vertical storage, right? Like, and like we've done that with like paper drying and things like that. We're like, oh, where have you been my whole life kind of thing. It's like, yeah. And then there's so many things out there that are not arts and craft related, but you're like, oh, I could just do this kind of thing. And so like from the screen printing world, like baker racks, they're more designed for like the actual screen sizes, but baker racks come in handy so much. And I'm like,
so nice.
It should logically make sense as like all these bakers are just stacking their breads on these racks. Why didn't we think about that in the first place?
Yeah, and you can get like 30 trays on one thing. Yeah.
I one of the like early on when I was doing like I was screen printing some of our bags and boxes, I was just like bam, 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 going, and then I'm like, I'm running out of room on the table. Where do I put everything? Like
the entire like
the table. Like I'm like, I have more boxes. I don't have it. And so then I start like screen printing and then putting them on the floor. And I'm like, wait, now I can't walk around. Like this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And
then
you
figure, no, I've trapped myself.
But then you figure out, oh, what if I just do shelves and then I just do this? I'm like, oh man, like oh, you learn, you experience. I get it. I understand.
I used to have all of my glitter and stuff kind of like on my table too. But now I have just a small table up against the wall and I bought spice racks.
Oh,
and so all my glitters in like spice racks right there. And stuff,
we got
easy to access.
Our acrylic paints are actually on spice racks that like pull out of the and like we were rolling through DI and I'm like, oh, look at this thing, it slides out and it's like I'm like, this is great because now we can like stack all of our acrylic paints on one shelf and just pull out, and like it'd be great if we labeled them with the colors that were in there. You just kind of pull them out and figure out.
I know which ones are where.
Yeah.
Future project, right?
Yeah. Well, when it's in your own studio, then it's like you know.
Just remember.
Yeah.
Blacks on this side, grays on that side, colors over here.
I have that problem with like stickers. I kind of post my stickers out kind of like in like the Comic-Con style where they're like an example is out and then we pull out the stickers for people, which I just prefer for like wind reasons, things like that. It's just easier. But all of my friends would be like, where's the sticker? Where's the sticker?
We had the same problem. And like we recently have just gone to like these little business card pouches that are like we had all of our stickers on these boards that were like the same way. Like, hey, I'd like that one and that one kind of thing. Pick and choose.
Yes. But so many times we'd be like, how do I
like where are the stickers? Where do I get
if I want a sticker?
And so we kind of were like, okay, I'm like, let's try something else. I know some people put like these different holders. So I found these ones that were like adhesive back and they just kind of fit on the same board. So we pulled all the stickers we had on the board, put these on. Excuse me. And it seems to be working. I don't know. Like we'll see. Like we'll see how a couple.
Like the first show I think we did that. We were like, oh, I feel like we had quite a few sticker sales. Okay, I think that may be working.
It might be working, and then I can also like minimize how many stickers I need to put out, and I can have the back stock
to restock
of it, and just kind of go, oh, here I'll put a couple more of those and see like where that's going. But stickers I think are one of the hardest things, they do really well
They're
at shows.
so good.
They're
and
so good.
Low investment costs.
Yeah.
With like, you can price them, especially because it's your art and stuff. So you want to price them for your art time. Easy to make a good profit on them.
Yeah, 100%. But it is displaying them. I don't know if we have the right solution yet. And like there's people, it seems like maybe they have a good solution, and then I'll see them on the next show and it's different for them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe they didn't have it right.
Every time I'm at a market, and like if I'm just walking around as like as a patron, I'm just like, that's a really good idea. And then it's like, I have the way to do it. And I've turned mine into like our cash wrap. So it's like the cubes that like, so the front is all stickers and the back is like where we keep the cash box, our toolbox. So it's like made it nice as like a central checkout area.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so I have hard-hitting questions next. And okay.
I'm ready.
Annual glitter budget. What does that look like?
I'm just always buying glitter. I have kind of narrowed it down. So the first couple years, it was like trying out different glitter, like, because some people like make glitter is their business. It's like making glitter mixes and stuff. Yeah. So I would buy specific ones like that. But then like some of those artists, go out of business or things like that. So I have some like treasured glitter from them that like only I use for like stuff for me, very specific colors. I'm like, this is too pretty. No one else can have this. And this person doesn't make this anymore. So I have to just make this last. But now that I'm further in, I have kind of just like the core colors that I keep buying of just like solids. And they're usually all just the fine glitter to make solid colors, neon colors. Because when it gets really chunky glitter, sometimes you can lose the definition in the design that's on front of it. So I've learned to kind of like mellow it out a little bit. And I'll just add like one or two things. So it's like I'll do like a solid like pink, but then I'll have like some iridescent stars in there. So it's like different and pops, but it's not overwhelming the design that's on top of the earrings. Because so many of them, like the ones I'm wearing, like, I paint on them and do art on that too. Right. To like make it stand out. Like, so I don't want to drown them.
That's like got the paint filled.
Okay. Have you heard of the glitter conspiracy theory?
No.
Okay. So I won't get too deep into it and everything, but I was like, okay, maybe you're lying to me and you do know because you have to like pay the glitter cartel to like actually get, because there's like military like thing behind glitter. I'm dead serious. Like go down the YouTube rabbit hole. It's crazy how deep like where glitter goes. Comes from. Yeah, and no one knows where glitter comes from. But like they've narrowed it down to one family.
Or they know, but they're not telling.
And like so, because you're so invested in glitter. Yeah, I was like, are you? Do you know the in to the glitter cartel and everything?
Is this turning into an expose? I've been discovered. We found the source.
We're all full of microplastics, but my microplastics are all glitter.
Are shiny. Okay, shoot. I threw my question that I had, the serious questions on that. Oh, no. Okay. We're going back. I got it. Okay, we're back. Market. I want to talk about displays because your displays have grown and adapted and evolved as you've done more markets. You have 105 designs of earrings.
And that's just
plus
the earrings.
Plus buttons. And your buttons are in what look like little tackle boxes. Is that?
Yeah. So I've got them from Michael's actually. And it's like a stacked like jewelry or like bead separator.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I have 3 stacks that are 5 tall. And they're full. I don't have room to add new flags right now unless I want to upgrade the bins that I keep everything in.
Yeah.
But I have probably about 80 flag designs that I have, or 80 different flags with like 3 or 4 designs of each flag that I keep in there. So I had to make a cheat sheet so we know what flags are which because there's so many of them. And every Pride event I go to, there's some 13-year-old kid that comes up and like shows me on the phone, like, do you have this Pride flag? I'm like, no, but send me a picture of it. I'll get it for you next time.
First time I've seen this one.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. And I really love that there's so many different like things for people to identify themselves with, you know? And I've been part of the conversations where people are like, oh, there's just too many flags, you know, like from people in my own family and from other people who are also gay being like, oh, that's just stupid. Why does everyone have to have their own little identity and stuff? But it's cool to see all these, like, buttons are such a great way to be able to provide these flags for people because, again, a low cost. for making it, where you can get like a decent profit. I think we looked at our profit from just buttons this year, and I could have bought both my button machines twice this year, just from how much we've made from buttons. But it's a good way to be able to have something for people that's not hindering like my other processes and stuff. So so I have all the buttons, and that's just the flags. I also have my own art that I put on buttons. I make like D&D buttons. I do a bunch of different flags as like the D20 dice. That's pretty much one whole table in my booth. And then the stickers are kind of like on that same table.
Okay. How long does it take you to hang up all your earrings when you get to a show?
If I'm alone, I need about 2 hours to set up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And half of that is just the earrings.
Because we use grid walls. Your main wall is all a grid wall setup and everything. And so I know like the process of hanging and getting that, like we have nowhere near as much like individual items as you do.
And it feels like we have a lot.
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of experience. So the retail job I worked pre-pandemic was actually Hot Topic. So I have like experience with like getting all that jewelry and like setting it up, merchandising it, re-merchandising it all the time, which helped with what I'm doing now. But this past year I have like a really solid setup of what I do like every market. So it's nice to not have to like worry about it anymore and try to re-merchandise it. It's just like, okay, this is where the wall goes. This is how many pegs go on the top row. The second row, you need to leave space for signage, but I know how much space I need. And then we just go down a certain amount.
It takes out that extra thought process.
Yeah. It just makes it easy to just be like, this is how it is. I'll re-merchandise the earrings per market, because if I'm at a Pride market, obviously all the Pride stuff's going towards the front.
Yeah.
But if I'm at like Yard Sale or Craft Lake City or something, I'll do more of my original designs more up front that are going to catch people's eyes first. I also have a lot of swear words that I make sure to always they're on the top, so kids can't read them.
Yeah.
But adults can see them, and I can't keep them in stock because everyone buys them, which is awesome. But I have like these 6x6 like scrapbook boxes that I end up, when I'm taking stuff down at night or at the end of the market, I put them like in sections. So it's like all of like the Pride ones are in one, all of like the swear words are in one. So it's easy for me to like look at the boxes and be like, this is what's in here. Okay, I don't need that next. I need to merchandise this next. So I've made it easier on myself to
very organized setup and everything. We've gotten better at some of our setup, and we've changed our setup, and we're still adapting, trying to figure out what
it's
works.
Always changing.
But like for Chrissy's jewelry, like one of the things we did for like the grid wall we have on the table is like, okay, all the grid hooks that you use is in this bag here, so that we're not like going to the big bag and trying to like we need this one and this one.
Separate them.
So that kind of helps move that a little bit. But like, what if you could tell yourself now what you know now to the first person the first time you started? This is an confusing question. You got it right.
If your present self could talk to your past self,
what tip would you have for you setting up your booth?
Definitely to make things more vertical off the get-go. For anyone starting, I always tell them, like, they're like, well, I don't know how to like do all this stuff. It's like, go vertical. Do tall fixtures, make things go up so people can see. That would have helped so much. And like turning fixtures, like things that spin so you can like put stuff on multiple sides but only take up like a little bit of space.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't have, I'm really grateful for like those people who like shared booths with me and stuff my first year. My friend Casey shared a booth with me at the farmers market for the first year. So that first in 2021, after I signed up for those 12 markets, I just kept signing up for markets. And we signed up for the entire season for Ogden Farmers Market, but we were doing it together, sharing a booth. And that was hard because like farmers markets are fine with the 5 a.m. setup. It's the 2 p.m. teardown in the middle of the sun on the asphalt that I can't do.
Yeah, that one of the first ones when we did Ogden, it was only like 85, 90-ish, but it felt so much. And like,
that was the summer I was pregnant, and so I remember like getting in the car afterwards and just being like, oh no, I don't feel well.
This was too much.
I didn't even have pregnancy excuse, like, oh, it was just bad. But like, I would have told myself not to share booths with people for as long as I did, and I'm really grateful for sharing during that summer, because it helped. Like, during the year, I had some mental health stuff going on. I had some physical stuff going on with my body. So it was nice to be able to be like, I can't go to farmers market, Casey. The booth is yours. Like, have fun today.
Yeah.
And she would do it sometimes too, where she's like, I have something going on this Saturday. So it's nice not having to worry about like, I'm out of money because someone else is using the booth. But I'm at the point now where it's like, I can't share a booth with anybody.
Yeah. There's too much stuff in your booth. There's not enough space. Like
we haven't even talked about the lapel pins, the magnets, the keychains, the sewing stuff.
Like like we hit on all the like a portion of the things you did of your plethora. Word of the day again. We're coming back around to it. But like at this point, like we have the discussion sometimes where we go, do we need to get 2 booths?
I'm thinking about doing it next year.
We've had
the discussion.
Your partner.
Lewis is like, no, don't.
You guys can't see, but behind the scenes, Lewis, their partner, is just crossing their arms. No,
he doesn't have to come help me though, because I know he's not a market guy, so it's not on him to do. But the past couple of weeks, I've been thinking about it a lot. So with getting diagnosed with ADHD this year, I'm on medication for it, which has helped so much. I can actually start a project and finish it in one sitting. Incredible. Life-changing. I don't know how people do it. But I've been able to like start thinking like, I think I could have like a 10 by 20 booth at like the Pride events next year.
Yeah. Cause
I have so many things already. I have 15 designs in my iPad waiting to be made into earrings right now. Yeah. And I'm not retiring any of my old designs. I'm making bucket hats now, expanding like the stuff I'm making. I want to do clothes and stuff like that. Well, so
the other thing that happens when you get 2 spaces is that your products have room to breathe a little bit. And like the all of a sudden a 10 by 10 doesn't feel as crowded when there's 2 different customers in there looking kind of thing, because
people are scared to come into my booth because it's so tight.
It can be. Yeah. And so I can understand. We have the conversation. We're like, does it make sense monetarily to invest and have for some of these shows?
It's twice the booth fee in some cases,
and then sometimes there are also
higher,
some shows don't have the space for us to take 2 booths. And I also I then get the guilty side of thing where I'm like, well, we're taking up a booth that some other artists could be having there kind of thing. So do I just make different choices? And so this is all things
hard.
It is all things we kind of like to try to figure out. And then there's times where I go, I'm like, there's people who take up 3 booths at like a Craft Lake City situation. And I go, oh man, like I'm nothing against them. They got a lot of stuff in their thing, but I'm like, man,
their art is important, but yours is too.
Yeah. And like trying to find that balance of like what makes sense to try and support and be a good neighbor to the community in that sense.
In that same vein, I'm not vending at Holiday.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, no, I want more other people to be there. Yeah. So like, I'm not vending at my own market to be like, no, we need more space for people. So I totally get it.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what to do, but I think you should just do what feels right progression for your art. There's some people that it's like, no, you're not ready for a double booth, but like us, like I think we're ready for it. We just have so much stuff, and like you're like me where we have such a variety of things, and it would just make it easier, more breathable for people, less overwhelming. I'm always having to tell people like, come in, come into my booth, please come in.
Yeah. But I think it depends on the event as well, because there's definitely some markets where I'm like, maybe this market we really just need to maybe like curate more what we're bringing. Like we don't need to bring everything. But it's very specific to like the event and the demographic. And
then it's like, then I have to invest in a trailer so I can haul all the stuff and get more things. Like there's only so much I can put on a roof rack that's legally safe and everything. And like, so there's a whole like logistic side of thing that goes behind it.
Oh yeah. I have so my car is a Nissan Versa. So like just this little guy, and I fit Falken Craft in it, and I can fit one person on the passenger side. Like I haven't had a back seat for 4 years.
Well, so that changed for us. Like we have a car seat now.
Yeah.
And so we're like, shit, like what do we like? Okay.
Where do you put that stuff?
Where do we like crap? Let's take less of this. Let's take like we find that balance. I'm like, well, Chrissy.
Or how do we more efficiently pack things?
2 cars. You're going to take the baby in one. I'm going to
sometimes that happens.
Kind of thing. It's like, I'm like, okay, well, do we invest in like an RV that I can like put like the shop in and everything and just like pull the RV up and pull the side up and go, come shop at our
I've seen people who turn like buses and stuff into like their shop, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
When I travel out of state, so I traveled out of state 5 or 6 times this year for different Pride events. But I have to rent a vehicle to be able to like space, get everything, but also
your luggage,
help with me.
Yeah,
to have like people help me, because at these Pride markets, it's really awesome. But like 3 of us are running registers all times during the entire like 3-day event.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool and it's really awesome. And it's like you never get a break. Like we kind of have to be like, okay, go get food for us.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Like, I'll be back. Oh my gosh, like, my phone's here if you need to bring my phone up and stuff too. But it's like it gets really crazy and really busy, but it makes the days go by really fast too, which is nice. But yeah, I've been having to rent a vehicle to be able to get all of my shit there.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense and everything. Okay, so we're coming close up on our time and everything. The conversation has been great, but we hit a little bit on future by maybe 2 booths and everything, 2 booths. But is there a future plan that's going forward that we might see in 2025 from you? Some changes or some adaptations of what you're doing already? More shows, more stuff. What do you got going on in the near future?
So there's a couple Pride events I want to add for this year. For 2025, I definitely want to do Denver Pride and Seattle Pride. Hopefully, I like traveling to like just our local area. I did San Francisco Pride this year. It was really weird. And I'm sure y'all have seen this year has been like kind of a downtrend for everything across the board. So it was kind of a weird event. I want to try some other California cities, maybe not San Francisco again, just because we had to tear down and set up every single time.
Ooh, that's tough. Yeah.
Yes, because it was just like in the middle of the streets.
Oh, okay.
And we left the tent, and I was glad there was a tent the next day, because our booth neighbors, all their tables and chairs got stolen.
Oh no.
So it was just like, okay, this is a lot. But yeah, I definitely want to try some of these other bigger cities. It's hard because a lot of them like overlap, because I think Seattle Pride and the Salt Lake City Utah Pride Center event are like the same weekend. So it's hard trying to like choose which ones and stuff like that. But a lot of them go to different places, like different weekends. But going to Portland Pride again for sure. That's one of my favorite places to go. Colorado Springs Pride, really awesome. It was my best one all year.
Nice.
The people there are really cool. It's a really cool community out there. But yeah, I just want to try just doing more Pride events in more places and just kind of get out there and meet more people. I just like meeting all the people you see at Pride. You see all these people who are coming to Pride for the first time. And you can, as someone who is obviously non-binary and trans, like I can kind of clock people when it's like, this is the first time you've ever worn a dress in public. Like you can just kind of see that in people with like their mannerisms, stuff like that. So I love going to those events to be that person, to be like, you look really good in your dress. Like you look awesome, and just see people light up and stuff like that. So I kind of just want to focus on Pride events this year only. But with expanding, I want to make clothes and stuff like that. I've been making my own. I didn't make this top, but I have been making my own tops and stuff like that. But I specifically want to make only plus size clothes. Because as someone who's been fat their whole life, like I'm sick of having to pay $5 extra for every piece of clothing I buy, because it's fucking ridiculous. So I want to make specifically only clothes that are like extra large and bigger. And if people want a smaller size, they can pay extra for it, because it's not in my inventory, I'm just kind of like, well, sorry, you got to pay skinny tax, because I've had to pay fat tax my whole life. But want to expand of like having gender inclusive and size inclusive like clothing for people. And yeah, there's just so many ideas I want to do.
I want to make sure people know where to find information, not only about what you're doing, but also the Holiday show that is coming up, where they can find information. Where is the best place to find all that information from you?
So my main place where I post everything is Instagram. My Instagram is at Falken Craft Shop. My website is also falkencraftshop.com. I try to keep them all the same. But we're posting our information for Holiday on our Instagrams. We don't have like a special Instagram market page
for it, yeah.
So just from mine and from Q's Instagram, you'll see all the information on there. I'm also on Facebook as well, just under Falken Craft Shop. But really everything from Instagram gets funneled into Facebook. So I'll just respond to people like if I see them pop up. But Instagram's the main jam where to contact me, things like that. But yeah, Holiday, December 1st, 11 to 5. We will be requiring masks and providing masks for people too, just since, wintertime, everyone gets sick anyways, but COVID is still very rampant, and we want to make sure people are safe in the community and things like that. But yeah, we're really excited for it.
And then also you have an online store that people can support if they are not local to the area and can't come see you, or if they miss you at one of the events that you're at. What is that website that they can...
So it's falkencraftshop.com.
Okay.
And I have it set up to where everything is custom ordered. So you see the earrings you like, you get to pick which color you want, and I make it to order so you can order literally whatever you want.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, for what you do to the community and what you're doing in the future for not only the LGBTQ plus, I think I'm getting that right. Like, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the queer community. Yes. Okay.
That's the easy way.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. It's
but for that whole community and being a safe space and support, that's very awesome. And your art is very cool and everything you're doing is great. And we appreciate you taking the time to come down and have this conversation in our basement.
Thank you. I'd also like to add, I host a queer youth art night once a month in Ogden and in Salt Lake. It's always the second Wednesday in Ogden at the local Artisan Collective and the second Thursday of the month at Under the Umbrella in Salt Lake.
That's the place. The Under the Umbrella bookstore.
Under the Umbrella.
That's what I was confusing earlier in the podcast. Guys, I was right. No.
Yes. No, I'm at the bookstore all the time. Everyone asks if I work there because I'm there like several times a week.
No. Okay. I was like, oh, you just clarified what I was. I'm like, I thought I saw something about a bookstore.
Yeah. So I host my market there, or the Queer Youth Art Night there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my confusion. Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah. And we got that cleared up. And I guess that's going to be the episode, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, support local art. If you guys know other artists that should be on the show, let us know. And I guess we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.